Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. That's what I think when I hop out my bed. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. When I wake up, I gotta get fed. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. It's a new day, so some money I met. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. Watch me do my dance, watch me do my step. Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Knowledge Finder. Today we've got Michael Gordon from Gordon Brooks Property in the building, coming to give us a bit of game about property investing, real estate in the UK in general, and how you at home can get into the property industry. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
So where should we start? Let's start with a bit about yourself. Where are you based? How long have you been in the property industry? And yeah, how did it start?
Been doing property since 2018.
Yeah.
I got into it off the back of a previous business that I had, and I always wanted to get into property. So I felt like one of the best ways to get into it was to create a business around it, offering the services to others that I was basically trying to get for myself.
Yeah.
I came into property just looking for opportunities, looking for ways of making cash flow, making lump sums of property. So the idea of making the estate agency was that opportunities would come to us. So we just focus on the marketing and the branding, and the opportunities come to us. And if there's anything special that stands out, we can execute that.
Perfect. So what were you doing prior to the estate agent business?
Prior to the estate agent business, there was a long string of different businesses, different ventures, different ideas. Nothing really lasted too long. It's just like at one point we was importing goods from China. At one point we were selling Sedgeways, things like that.
Yeah.
Just loads of different things. Any opportunities to make money and create a venture. That's what we was doing.
With you. So what about a bit about your background then? Educational background. What about that side of things?
Education. So it was always done reasonably well in school, never really struggled, never really probably done as well as I probably could have, but I think I've done okay for my circumstances. Managed to complete 1 year of university, but to be honest, I'm not coming from the most affluent background, and I had my first son quite young.
Yeah.
So by the age of like 20, it was just, I needed to get it in, needed to get money.
I'm with you.
Couldn't complete it.
So that's what I was going to ask next. So growing up in Birmingham, that area gets mad sometimes. So how did you stay on the path of business and just on a straight and narrow path, building estate agents, etc., rather than getting caught up in what's going on in the local area?
Well, to be honest, I can't say I didn't get caught up, but I think it was just more important to know that, I think knowledge of self comes into it, always knowing that, you're better, you can achieve more, there is more to achieve. And also where I grew up was kind of like in between two places. I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
So I never really had the chance to become affiliated too strong with any particular group, side, or, people.
Yeah.
So my mind was always just focus on being myself, being the strongest person I can be, and not necessarily being cool with everyone, but I'm not anyone, I'm not affiliated to anyone in particular. I'm my own person, I'm doing my own thing. So I think that was what kind of kept me focused and just out of the mix.
I got you. So when it comes to actually starting the entrepreneurial journey then, with your estate agents, what was the idea? What was the spark? How did that come about? Why was it even was it just I want to get into property, so start an estate agents, or was it where was the spark?
I think part of it was just a natural evolution of someone hustling.
Yeah.
So you start where you start. Everyone's got a story of them selling things at school and all that kind of stuff there, and then you might move on to something a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was all about transitions. And once you reach a certain level in one field, you say, right, how can I take these skills and just transfer it to another field? You reach to the next level in that field, and property was a natural evolution. It meant that, certain childish ways, certain habits, certain ways I was moving, I had to drop them off and I felt like not only just for business, it would make me a better person to become an estate agent, like a self-styled when I wasn't trained in this, but the things that I would have to go through to achieve that would then make me grow into another person. So it was a bit of a personal development thing as well.
With you. No, that's a great story.
Mm.
So, how much startup capital did you need then for doing
To be honest, the startup capital that was needed was more than I realized.
Yeah.
Even to this point, like the amount of money I have to put in on a month-to-month basis to pay staff for even just to be on Zoopla and Rightmove. Rightmove alone is like £1,000, £1,500 a month. Zoopla on a very basic package will probably set you back about £400 or £500 a month.
Yeah.
That's with nothing going on. That's just in the hopes of some business coming.
And those are tools that are definitely required.
Yeah, definitely. So and even like estate agent software is a couple £100 a month.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this when I came in. So I came in trying to like pick from here and take from there and just kind of mix match it and make it work.
Yeah.
And as I've gone on, I've realized, oh, that's how it goes. And I've spoken to other estate agents and I've learned the game a little bit more.
So what estate agent software for the viewers at home? What kind of software?
All right, so an estate agent software you could use is like Alto, G&B.
Yeah.
There are other ones. Those are two that I have used.
What are they used for?
So like, imagine if you're just like tracking tenants, like in terms of which tenants are in which properties. Someone has a boiler problem or a burst pipe or something, they want to report it, they will do it through this technology. Also, when you are listing a property, where do you capture all this information? So it's like a CRM system. You put it up on there and then it will push to Zoopla.
CRM for estate agents.
So yeah, exactly. CRM for estate agents. Prior to having the CRM, I was trying to do things on like say Asana or like Monday.com.
Yeah.
Which are CRM tools, good for task management, but not specific to the industry. So that's one thing I would definitely say I learned is every industry has some sort of CRM tool specific to it. Regardless of what you're doing, try and find it. It'll make life 10 times easier.
Okay, some great advice for you guys. Find the correct systems and also plan that into your budget before you get started, really.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So you had would you say you had quite a large amount of initial startup capital or a large requirement? Or did you like put some in, build it a bit, add some more?
To be honest,
what was the strategy?
My estate agency started more so with the properties that I had.
Okay.
So it was the properties that came first, then the estate agent. Did I have a large amount of startup capital? Yeah, in the scheme of things, yes. But it quickly burnt out. So like, in the space of 12 months, we went to having, say, 5 properties that we owned or managed or leased. So either we owned it or we were renting it. And we were going to use it to, make further money off.
Yeah.
I would say the startup capital could easily run into like say 50k.
Okay.
But after the initial investment was done, all right, we got properties are furnished, properties are ready to now generate an income. There was no money. That was done.
Yeah.
And then that's the first time I made such a substantial investment. That was like everything I begged, borrowed and stealed to get that. And then at the end of it, I'm thinking, what do I do now? Like the money that I'm trying to earn, I've just spent on these assets.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna give me back like a couple hundred a month. It's gonna take me years to make back this 50k. So I quickly realized that as well, like the importance of doing your numbers before you go into something. Prior to that, it was just a case of, does it make sense? Does it feel like it's gonna work? All right, cool, let's do it.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point because a lot of people are interested in getting into property. For me, like I say, I'm in the industry, but where do I put that, like I say, next big chunk of money? Because it is locked up for some time. Yeah. So in the property industry, how do you do it then? If you're a person that does want to invest in properties, but your main goal is building up monthly cash flow, monthly revenue, would you buy and flip it, buy and rent, or what would be the best strategy to develop monthly cash flow?
If I could go back, like I wouldn't change anything, but if I'm starting again, and I'm just acting like I've got limited money,
Yeah.
I'm doing rent to rent.
Okay.
I'm doing rent to rent. So for those that don't know, rent to rent is the practice of taking a property that you would rent as if you was renting it yourself, being quite transparent, open and honest with the landlord that you intend to re-rent it out for a particular purpose. Some people break it down into HMOs, shared houses, so room by room rent, or some people turn it into serviced accommodation. And one of the industries that we are really pushing in right now is social housing, which I would say the returns are similar to serviced accommodation, but comes with a much bigger and greater social responsibility. So those are the three options you have: either just a HMO, shared housing, serviced accommodation, or social housing. At the moment, social housing being those that are facing homelessness, working with the local council to house them, or like children's homes and things like that.
Yeah.
Which you kind of have to be regulated, and that's a whole other beast in itself. But I would do rent to rent. Controlling the assets instead of owning them.
So
initially.
Okay, thank you very much. Now that's good advice. Would you Airbnb or would you do what you do now and have an estate agent and rent to rent like that?
So for me, having the estate agent gives me credibility, because not only am I working on my own properties, I'm working on other people's properties. So anytime I do see something I want and I do approach a landlord and they say, well, who are you? I have the estate agent behind me that shows that I've got like the right insurances, the right accreditations. We are PRS registered, CMP registered. So essentially it's just many different ways of telling that person, your money is okay, your house is safe. This is what we do for a living. I'm not just a random person asking for your house.
Wicked. So with the rent to rent strategy, is there like a time period on it? For example, how do you find these landlords, and won't eventually all of these landlords kind of be taken if that's the case?
When you say taken, do you mean as in like there's only an infinite number of landlords?
Yeah, in the UK, there's an infinite number of landlords and properties. So if every estate agent offers rent to rent services, then the market must get a bit weird. Like, how do you find more business? It must get a bit saturated.
It does get saturated, but that's where quality and the level of service that you offer comes through, because many people are asking for the same thing, but not everyone's going to get the yes.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? So landlords want to see track record. They want to see that you can back what you say. They want to see examples of the work that you've done, and we can show many examples, so it's easier for us.
Okay, so when it comes to buying properties just for the sole profit of selling it and making a quick profit, how would you go about finding a good deal?
Honestly, for me, that hasn't been my strategy to this point.
Yeah.
And anyone that's buying a property to flip it and make a profit, I'd say be careful, because you'll see a lot of people on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. They're making it look like it's very easy. But what you'll find is, just for numbers' sake, say, I'm not even going to say 100, because nothing's 100. Let's just say 200.
Yeah.
Say you find a property that should be worth 200. Houses are going for 200 in that area for 150.
Yeah.
Chances are the price has been discounted to take into account work anyway. You might be able to get the work cheap. And I would say that's the biggest thing in any kind of refurb is the builders. That's what's going to make it a profit or not.
Yeah.
The time that they take, because builders are notorious for either doing poor work or taking on too many jobs.
Yeah.
So like that 6 months job will soon turn into 12 months if you don't watch it. So that's what's going to mess up your profits. But essentially, if you can get that 50k worth of work done for 25, all right, cool. You might have a 25 in it.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful with these flips.
But that's still 6 to 12 months for 25k props.
Yeah,
so it's not really.
Yeah, definitely. The opportunities are there, but then the only problem with that is getting the finance for it. So one of the things that I've realized is there's actually, if investments tick certain boxes, there's a lot of money available for you to receive and actually execute these investments. So for example, you've got development finance.
Yeah.
If you can find a property that can clearly show 25 to 30% profit at the end, 9 times out of 10, you can find someone to actually just give you the money to do it.
So where would you find development finance?
You can Google the development finance.
Yeah.
And then some companies will be saying what I've just said. Find an investment with about 30% in it and we'll give you everything. You don't have to put anything in.
Okay.
Networking, find an investment, package it correctly. And when I say package, it's literally find it, be direct to the landlord or the vendor, the person who's selling the home.
Yeah.
Find someone with money and tell them, listen, I've got this opportunity. I've got the build team. Make them feel comfortable that it's actually what it's supposed to be and what you say it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're just asking them to park their money there for 6 months.
So what do they get out of that then?
So normally they'll probably say, all right, well, I want like 50% of the profit at the end of it.
Okay.
You do the work, you found the opportunity, I'll park my money there, and at the end of it, I want 50%.
Okay.
There's many ways you can structure the deal. That's just an example of how something like that would go. So when people are talking about make money from property with none of your own money, that's what they're really talking about. But going back to what you said about finding the flips,
yeah,
they are there, but most flips probably won't fall into that 30%. They'll more fall into like a 10, 15%. So a bank won't touch it. You're not going to be able to go to the bank and ask the bank to help you to develop this house. It's raw money you put in it.
Yeah.
Like as in, you have to get, say, probably even like a residential mortgage and then flip it.
Really?
But then take into account there's going to be penalties if you try to sell it. Normally about 1 to 2% of the overall cost of the mortgage because you're cancelling it early.
So let's get into that for the viewers at home. With the residential mortgage versus buy to let, how long, say if you did just that, had a residential mortgage, how long do you have to be in the property for it before you can sell it for a flip without incurring any fees?
Okay, well, to start with, I'm not a broker. This is just my educated opinion.
Yeah.
But brokers can back it up. The reality is you have to pick correctly. There's a very small amount of lenders that will allow you to buy and exit at the same time. But it's about having the right product for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If you know that you're trying to flip this property, it shouldn't be a residential mortgage. It shouldn't even be a buy to let. It should really be a bridge where you put down 20 to 30%, clearly show how you're going to exit out of this bridge, which is just a short-term loan, do the work, and then get a mortgage to exit or sell it.
With you.
So there's products for these kind of things, but you have to speak to a broker, sit down and say, this is what I'm trying to achieve. I think one of the problems that a lot of newbies are getting into is using the wrong products for the wrong thing and putting themselves into problems or just putting themselves in awkward situations that they don't really need to be doing.
I'm with you. So how do you find a good broker then? That sounds pretty important.
Word of mouth. I would say go to like networking events and all these kind of things there, or find groups and forums and stuff like that. But find people that have done what you want to do and ask them who they used.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't say you can trust too much the guy online just marketing saying, yeah, I'm a good broker.
Yeah.
You need someone to back it up.
So are there any forums that you would recommend or any events you would recommend people go to?
I would always recommend the Black Landlord Group. So if you type in the Black Landlord Group, you'll find that's on Facebook, and I'm sure they've got a website. There's a WhatsApp group as well. Smart Landlord Group. Again, that's a London-based one, SLG, Smart Landlord Group.
Yeah.
Those are the two that really I've been able to gain value from. Anytime I ask a question in that group, someone's there, So Smart Landlord Group and Black Landlord Group.
I'm with you. Great. So before you started your estate agent business, you had properties already. How many properties did you have before you decided I might as well go into the business full time?
It was all done at the same time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like within 12 months, it was just set up the agency, acquire these properties, we're in the game.
Nice.
It was aggressive.
So 12 months setup. Okay, so how was growth from now till then?
From now till then,
sorry, the other way around, from then till now.
From then till now. it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Then I was only privy to the strategies of single let, HMO,
Yeah.
serviced accommodation, which I dabbled in, but don't have any at the moment. But then I quickly found out about social housing. So we already had the properties that were turned into HMOs.
Yeah.
It was focusing on students and professionals, but it wasn't making enough money. Like the money was like a couple £100 a room, making a couple £100 a property. Like I said, I just sunk like everything, life savings into this.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. So I was just networking, of just listening to different strategies that people were doing. And then I found out about social housing.
Yeah.
Every city and town, every council offers, has a duty of care to the citizens within that council to provide safe and affordable housing.
If you would like to tell us a little bit more about social housing, then please, and the property strategies around it.
Yeah. Before I even get into it, like, I just want to stress that even though it's a property strategy, we are dealing with vulnerable people. So
Yeah.
I think this is a strategy that if you're not interested in supporting people, helping people, and like actually have a passion and a caring attitude towards it, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Because to me, the profit comes second. The profit comes second as a byproduct of showing and proving that you're helping people to develop, move forward in life, and then get out of hard situations. So it's very serious. It's not like there was like a rush for everyone to like get these rent to rents and jump into these shared houses, and everyone's turning living rooms into bedrooms and all that kind of stuff there. It's not that. The other side of what I do is a company that does work hand in hand with Gordon Brooks, but it's Crossroads Housing and Support. So Crossroads Housing and Support currently has 100 rooms in Birmingham, housing just under the 100 tenants. So I think we've got about 75% occupancy.
Mm-hmm.
The goal of that company is to work with the council and other housing associations within the Birmingham area to house individuals that are on the borderline of facing homelessness and are receiving benefits. For that, they come into our houses, which are always like done to professional HMO spec.
Yeah.
We have a support team that go in, providing a minimum of 1 hour a week of support. And we ensure that these people, a tailored support plan is created for them. And we do our best to get them to engage, try to move them forward into work. We've had people move into work and we move them into like some of the Gordon Brooks professional house shares, if not single accommodation, independent accommodation. We get them back into education if that's what they want, further training and apprenticeships, or some of them are able to get houses through like housing association or Birmingham City Council itself. So that's the goal. So we stop them from being homeless or ending up sleeping on someone's couch. Give them their space, give them their, empower them to have their independence. And the idea is that within 6 to 12 months, they're back on their feet or, in a better situation than they came to us in.
Perfect. So how do people find you if they do require your services?
Cool. So there's 2 ways people come through to us at the moment. Well, there's 3 ways. But we can split it into self-referral and referral. So a referral is we have contacts with, say, NHS, charities, individuals that work within the community who are aware of us, and they say, I've got so-and-so, they're in a bit of a bad place. Have you got any properties that would be suitable for them? And then, we do what we need to do to get them in.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that someone phones me through Gordon Brooks and says, I've seen your room online, can I take it? Yeah, no problem, I'm on benefits. Okay, so we need working professionals in these properties, but we do actually have these rooms over at our sister company through Crossroads, and sometimes we can help them that way. Mm-hmm. And then we also just advertise, just generally, even on like Zoopla, Rightmove and Spare Rooms, letting people know that this service exists. Because to be honest, when I was younger, I went through hard times, and if I knew that these things existed, like I probably would have done different things. If I knew that I didn't have to do so much and I could have just like had this there and it could have given me that peace of mind, at a hard time. It's a great service.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very, very necessary because similar to you at the time when it was a period of time when I actually required these services, and it was just easier for me to just do my thing and rent privately than to get any sort of housing assistance because at the time, to actually get any assistance, they were forcing you to work in like some weird jobs like Tesco or something. I just graduated with not weird, but I just graduated with a first. So you should be supporting me to use my documents and get a job like that, not telling me to do something that like personally, a graduate shouldn't go into those roles. Once you've graduated, you should look to dive into your field. But what they were actually doing is just putting you in a place where once you got a job, I find, especially if you got a job earlier on in life, I feel like those kind of roles you could stay there for a long period of time, but you don't learn what you need to advance yourself in your profession. You're just working a job for the money, but actually taking a step back to actually dive into your profession, get the experience. It's way more valuable.
100%.
So, well, I did find that extremely annoying when the council was saying, we'll do this for you, but you've got to be interviewing at these places, etc. It was so weird. So something like that would have been great because you can just go straight there, I guess, and don't have to deal with all of that rigmarole. Or such a like, how do I explain it? Just like a large machine, you know what I mean? When you deal with a more tailored service is what it sounds like you're providing.
Yeah, definitely.
So besides all of the business stuff, it sounds like you got quite a lot going on. What would you say keeps you motivated and disciplined to be able to run these businesses?
I've got 3 kids, so I would definitely say, being a role model to them, making sure that I can provide for them. Like I can't play. Like if my business don't work or I don't bring in the kind of income that I need to bring in, their standard of life suffers. So we're not going to have that. Also, my aspirations, like from a young age, I was very aware of the things that were available in this world. And, I want to experience them. I want to achieve them. I want to see myself rubbing shoulders with the people at the top. So again, serious dedication, consistency, grind. Like you have to put that work in. And we have to work harder. Being black men, you get me? So we're going to put that work in. And then also just knowledge of self. Like I have spent a lot of time from a very young age doing research as to who we really are. That will never be told in any form of public education. So a lot of my time is kind of spent aligning with who we actually are and making sure that I show and prove and display that in what I'm doing to the best of my ability, because we're all just human. We still make mistakes and we're still very programmed. But try.
Oh, that's great. On that topic, just out of curiosity, how would somebody start that journey of finding out who you really are? Because that was one of the sparks for the creation of Knowledge Finder.
Well, first of all, it's like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and the knowledge is there. It's not actually hidden. It's just we're trained not to read, look, seek, search, but it's all there. So first of all, you just have to be willing. You have to be willing to say, you know what, I know I'm programmed. Like I acknowledge that. We've probably been lied to or manipulated in some sort of way, and say, all right, I'm now ready to seek more. So I think that's the first thing. And I would say just keep going backwards, but you don't even have to go backwards that far. Like if you don't look at your history, if you don't really know what happened before you, then you're doomed to repeat it again. You'll think that you're being smart, doing something new, not realizing there's nothing new underneath the sun. And really we're like 1 million years away from the peak of where we've been in the past. This is like we're covering old ground to get to where we are now. but for me, the minute you start like learning about Moorish history and all that kind of stuff there, then you go down that rabbit hole, it will reveal itself.
Oh, wicked. So there you have it, guys. Read your history. It's very important for you to make steps going forward. Moorish history is a good place to start, and go from there and look around. Besides history books, what would you say are 3 books everybody should read?
I would say, obviously everyone always says Rich Dad Poor Dad, but Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I'm gonna have to phone him, and tell him he needs to cut me in.
Yeah,
Everyone on the show has said that, like I'm promoting his book.
we need our own Rich Dad Poor Dad. Someone needs to write one that's relevant to us, man. But it's a good story. It's easy to digest, and serves the purpose. Turn everything into an asset. I would say The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Many people haven't really heard of that book.
I haven't heard of it.
Again, it's written pretty much in the same way as Rich Dad Poor Dad, like an allegorical tale where it tells you some knowledge through a story. So it's easy to digest. It's quite thin.
Is it financial, that Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, so the E-Myth is more about systems and processes. The idea of, again, building on from the Rich Dad Poor Dad thing where if you've got a job and only you can do it, and if you get sick, that's it, the job's done. It's just a job, it's not a business.
Yeah.
So you to take it from being owning your own job to turn it into a business, you need to create systems and processes so that you can employ someone to replace yourself.
Yeah.
The E-Myth. There's a book called Traction, which is like, if the E-Myth is secondary school, then Traction would be like university to that.
Yeah.
But I just like things simple, easy to understand. So if you get that and you get the principles from that, you'll be all right.
Perfect. So E-Myth and Traction.
E-Myth and Traction. But as a last book, I'll just say any biographies. I think one that stood out for me was the biography of Philip Nike.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah. Like I liked his story still. Like it made me realize that he's just a human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's doing all these things, but like he was talking about like the issues he had with his son and stuff like that. So it's just like everyone goes through their problems. Like doesn't matter what level you're at, we're still human.
Yeah.
Biographies.
Oh, thank you very much. And just before we close, are there any projects you would like to mention? Anything up and coming for Gordon Brooks that you would like to mention? Even any new properties that you've got that you're letting out at the moment?
More than anything, I'd just like to have more conversations with people. Just let them know what we're doing with Gordon Brooks. Investment into health and social care properties down in Birmingham. Our thing is the West Midlands. I'm not even that interested in coming outside of the West Midlands. I just want to know everything about the West Midlands, everything about Birmingham. And Birmingham's going through its own kind of gentrification at the moment. Not even in a bad way, it's just development. And I just want to make sure that we're a part of it. So conversations, DM, email. If you type in Gordon Brooks, it will come up. If you type in, my socials, it will come up. I just want to have more conversations with people.
Perfect. So thank you very much for coming down.
Yeah.
Guys, reach out to Gordon Brooks online. And that is this week's episode of Knowledge Finder EDU. So until next week, take care.
Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. That's what I think when I hop out my bed. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. When I wake up, I gotta get fed. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. It's a new day, it's some money I've met. Gotta run me up a 1-2 check. Watch me do my dance, watch me do my step.